Hey everybody, I just wanted to pop in here before the episode starts and let you know that the next couple of episodes are sponsored by Yorktoberfest. Yorktoberfest is October 14th from 1 to 5 at the York Fairgrounds, 344 Carlisle Avenue, York, PA. There will be 75 plus beer selections to taste. 12 PA wineries are coming down with 120 wines to taste. And you can get your tickets at advance at yorktoberfest.com. Now we got some good noise. So, hey.
Hi.
Hey. Oh, yeah, there you go. No, that's perfect. Well, good morning, Ian.
Scary. Can I turn my headphones down?
Sure.
Yeah.
How far? Yeah.
That sounds good, yeah.
Is
Thanks.
that better for you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure that I got to be particular about all the noise that comes through, because the only problem I have with the Zoom is that I can't mix down into multiple files to the SD card. I can only do that when using it as an interface, and I'm only one man, and I just can't. I just can't have all that stuff going on.
That's all foreign language to me. I don't have
You're
any
not,
idea what you're talking about.
you're not a super gear guy or anything like that.
No, I'm a pretty organic acoustic kind of person.
Mm.
I'm still learning how to use a mic. So,
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh well. That was the biggest thing. Like I have a list of like ridiculous questions,
Okay.
and I think I wrote down Yinghui Malmsteen at some point, but no, I had a big list of questions for her. So we met in August.
Are we recording?
Yeah, that's
Ooh,
all right.
wow.
Yeah, I like to fake people out and just go into it
All right.
because they don't even like. I met a fantastic model at the horror convention. Beautiful woman, terrified of microphone. She was like, her nudes were around me everywhere. Her very artistic nudes. She's terrified of being on the microphone, and I can't figure out why people are so afraid of that. It's because we text more than we call.
No, I mean, certain people are designed to communicate, and certain people aren't.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the people that aren't very good at communicating, like, have other outlets to express themselves. Like, perhaps this model expressed herself through that. But you know, some people have a hard time putting words together.
That's true. A lot of people don't have a solid budget of words either, which is definitely fine. Like
Yeah.
it's okay. We don't need to use the giant words all the time. But, I just forgot. So we met because you were busking outside of the Central Market.
Yeah.
That was August's flea market that they have down there in Cherry Lane.
It was a art market.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
it was something big. I mean, it was August is of course the end of the summer heat and all that in this area. So everybody's always excited to go downtown and take advantage of it while they can.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was really awesome. You have like this fantastic look that looks all natural about you. Like you don't look like a unicyclist from the turn of the century. Like, you know, you just have this kind of like working man thing going on.
Yeah.
And so what got you into busking?
I busked when I was younger. When I was 20, 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
I hitchhiked around the country for a couple of years.
Really?
Yeah, and I didn't know that many songs on my violin, but I'm also a percussionist, and I would, you know, just basically busk to make enough money to eat and to stay in hostels, and I just travel around from different cities and just see stuff and meet people, and you know, I'd make enough money that I could, you know, I mean, you don't need a lot of money to live. Like, food comes your way, and you know, you have a place, or you know, if it's the summertime, you find a nice cozy spot in the woods to sleep or whatever. But you know, that's when I started doing it.
Yeah.
And I also grew up in Renaissance fairs. Like, my parents are reenactors, and they both, I mean, they're not together at all, but you know, I was in that realm for a long time, so I got a lot of exposure to street performance through that, you know, playing music as, you know, growing up, you know, doing that kind of festival thing.
That's really awesome. Well, let's go farther back, because I am really amazed that at 22 you just decided to go. Like, how was that not the most terrifying experience for you?
It's actually, you know, the hard thing was saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, because it's supposed to be terrifying. Like, there's a lot of ideas out there that there's going to be bad things that happen to you, and like, you know, a lot of people like try to convince me that I needed to like carry a knife or a gun or do something to
Yeah.
like defend myself. And um you know that whole living in fear has always been something that I don't want to do. I don't want to be ruled by some sort of fear. Like I really just want to be able to live.
Hmm.
So like that, I think that was doing it actually wasn't scary at all. I had a couple of weird days,
Yeah.
like where some weird things happened, but for the most part, it was magical. I mean, just people are so kind and so generous, and always wanting to take me on their little adventures. Like people just take me to their favorite places, and
Yeah.
like, let me show you something, and it was always just pretty cool. Go see a lake or spend a day with somebody. It's always real interesting.
Well, I was gonna say now that I drive for a living, like it is like it's a concept that's fascinating for you to just you take away all the safety home and you go see the rest of the world. And I don't think people understand it, like especially in my job. I get to travel a lot.
Mm.
That doesn't mean it's exciting every day.
All right. Yeah.
Like I had one incredibly random opportunity to meet an anarchist band from Louisiana who was in Rochester, New York at that very moment. Broken down, they needed gas at the rest stop. I happened to pull in. I met them. I gave them money. It was a fantastic moment because their accordionist was out front of the gas station getting yelled at to not play accordion for money. So I was just like, "Here, man, take this, please."
Fun
And
times.
but it just that's one super memorable experience. But that's just that's one in a million
Hmm.
because it's just how the time works out with my job and all that. But when you're just like you're just out roaming, did you have anything in mind as to where you were going or anything like that?
Not particularly. I guess I didn't really answer your first question. The reason I started doing it was, I was out on my own at a young age. Like I
Mm-hmm.
started, fending for myself around 14,
Mm-hmm.
and like I was stuck. California, that's where I grew up. I grew up out west. Like California in the Bay Area is very expensive.
Yeah.
You had to live like, so I was like 18 and I had an apartment, and it was like my share of the rent was like $800 a month or something like that. And like as an 18-year-old making like $9 an hour,
Yeah.
it's hard, like it's hard,
Yeah.
So like I was like I didn't have a car and like, so I'm working like a job and then like I would like pick up hours everywhere I could. So I was working all the time, and any spare money I had was basically it just went to smoking pot or trying different drugs out and stuff. And like basically all I was doing was like working a lot and partying a lot. And I felt like I was dying and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really see like an easy way out. Like I didn't see like I didn't feel like my life could really go anywhere else. Like I didn't have a lot of opportunity to like improve myself, and I didn't know myself enough to really know what the hell I wanted to do with my life.
Mm-hmm.
So like this was kind of like I met some people that had done this, and I admired them, and I was like, wow, like these people are free. Like they're just doing what they want, and they're not being held down by all these rules that society has made for us. So that's pretty much. And like the hardest part was just like getting up the gumption to like do it,
Yeah.
and then once you're out there, it's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna say once you put your toes in the water, you realize how good it feels.
Mm.
But like that's the thing with coming from this. Like I'm a native to this town. It's a very working class. Like you find a job Monday to Friday. You work your asshole off, and then hopefully you have fun on the weekends. And like it's a very like we're the very Calvinistic coast where we still
Mm.
believe in hard work will set you free.
Yeah.
And it's not honestly the case. And I've always been fascinated with just picking up and going. And
All right.
like now in my older years, it's like now I'm more fascinated with just having this place and hiding out in it. So like the idea of settling down. Like if I hadn't met my wife, who knows where I'd be at this point.
Mm.
Like I could just be in the back of a truck, just being a weirdo, crying, and not ever coming home. But it's just that little extra bit of stability. It didn't erase that. Like there is a wanderlust that everybody has for
Mm.
you turn You turn 15, your English teacher leaves Jack Kerouac on a desk, and you pick it up, and suddenly you're reading on the road, and it sounds magical. And then you take into like the current thing is like, well, money rules everything, and you need a ton of it, and you can't get by without it. And it's like it's kind of that ingrained feeling that we have now that like nobody can just pick up and go, because if you don't have a ton of money, like if you don't have a giant bank account, you're not going to be able to survive. And well, reasonably you can.
It's a lie.
Yeah,
it's a lie. It's just all conditioning set down from us to keep us all working to the grindstone and keep this capitalistic bullshit going, man.
No, I totally, I fully agree with that. It really is. But without it, like if 100% of us, all 365 million of us, were just roaming around doing nothing within these borders,
like if we all just did what we wanted to do, it wouldn't be that bad.
I don't know.
Be different.
It'd from this very momentous viewpoint, it's like, man, that'd be chaos, but it'd be fun.
Yeah, and I mean, I think life would be a lot more satisfying, and people would be a lot happier if they felt free to be who they want to be, and not like fit these rules. I mean, it's like everybody has to do this thing called work. Why? And nobody's doing what they want creatively except as like a hobby.
Right.
But really, like the thing that everybody is the best at is the thing that inspires them the most, and that's usually what they're creative about. Like if you have a creative person, that's what you're going to be the best at. Like you're going to be the best at podcasting or whatever other interest you have. Like, but instead you're spending a lot of time driving a truck because that's where money comes from. But that's not who you are. And who you came here to be, as your soul came here, and like you were given certain gifts to like express the world, I mean, that's what you have, and that's what you're going to be the best at, because that's what you're the most passionate about, and it's really just coming down to trusting it. That's a hard thing, because like we've been told time and time again that you have to have all these things set up to like create some sort of safety net for you, and you have to work 45 years of your life, and then you can enjoy the last 10. It's a bullshit raw deal.
No, I absolutely agree with that. It's like the biggest thing with here is like, this is just a situation. I can get it done. I can get it over with, and then I can work less. I can do whatever I want at that point, and I'll still be in my 30s. Like that. That's my, like, I totally get that, because somebody the other day was having an argument about, we'll pay off all your bills and then go have fun and buy an iPhone later when blah, 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 and enjoy yourself later. And it's like, if everybody enjoys themselves later, there's no reason to exist, because you never know that you're going to make it there.
Yeah.
That's the other thing is like, who knows? I ride a motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's my primary form of transportation. And to me, it's not really all that. There's nothing enthralling about it anymore. Like when you ride them every day, it's just whatever. And reasonably, I've almost been hit 3 times in the past 4 months up on the Bannister and Adams, just because people aren't looking. Yeah. And it's like, well, yeah, I could sit here and wonder and worry about what's coming next, or just accept the fact that like I might not make it there anyway. I can plan all I want, and it's not going to get there, and I can, swing the hammer all I want. It may not come to anything. Yeah. But then on the other side of it is that like the things that I do want in life aren't specifically for me. They're for what's next. Like So like I'd love to get I'd really love to have a small family cabin outside of Laurel Lake for my wife and I, and for my younger cousins who are coming into the world, so that later on it's their ownership. Yeah. I don't know that they're ever gonna make it there or not. Like they'll ever have the opportunity. But if I can give it to them, I'd love to. And maybe they're the generation that's finally gonna have kids in our family. Like it's like I'm always looking as when I build like my house. I didn't have the aspirations of a giant house in the suburbs, because it's just so soulless. There's nothing to it.
Sure.
This place, on the other hand, everything that my wife and I do to it, like, it's ours, and when you come in, it feels like home to me personally, because I grew up on the other side of the block. Actually, but this is for us now, and the bigger thing is it's for whoever's coming next. Like, that's the prescience of temporary life now is what like drives me most crazy. Is it like people are just buying these huge houses and then they're going under in mortgages, and then they're passing through. Like, you're spending all this money and all this effort to just have something that you're not going to have for any reason, like any reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
And you're like burning your life away just to prove that prove to your neighbors that you're not stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And just to prove to your neighbors that you're like, oh, this is my fourth car. Why?
Yeah.
Like, it's like
I mean, it's I do think a lot of it is just it's capitalism. It's advertising and like this constant like feed of information that we're being given about how our status is linked to like the trappings we have around us, and like success is based around being able to do these things that everybody else wants to do, like go on these really nice vacations, or have the nice car, or have all the accoutrements to your home. Like that's the idea of success, and like people are raised in it. Like we're bred and raised and fed this information over and over and over again. And like really, I think success would be just being happy with yourself and being happy with what you're doing in life. And that doesn't seem to be valued a lot of the time, though.
Yeah. It does. It doesn't seem to be. It doesn't seem to be the like of any importance to anyone anymore. Like personal happiness matters the least. And it's like, well, yeah, but if you could just, it's like, I forget what it was. I grew up Southern Baptist and Christian, and they lied to me a lot. But, but the entire thing was the actual driver of my church was be satisfied with what you have. And yet I'm in an environment where it's people that are constantly competing with each other over over the nonsense of life. Like, we had a car dealer who always had a brand new, every Sunday, brand new car, and everybody was fawning over it because he wanted to sell cars. And it's like, well, we're here to worship a man who roamed and was truly just out there. And like, if you put data behind it, you're looking at it, you're like, okay, so Jesus wandered the desert and told people to stop doing other things, and the people that came after him were tax collectors.
Yeah.
And when you I realize that's a spin, but when you put that kind of eye on it, you're like, well, that's pretty fucked up, isn't it? Like, he was just happy and he wanted people to be happy, and the people that chased him down were people who wanted him for gold. Like, oh, okay, well, that's kind of unreasonable.
There's a system in place, like we all work to make money for other people.
Well,
Like I was a chef for a long time, and I busted my butt for a long time, like to make a lot of money for somebody else.
Yeah.
And it was a good experience as far as my life goes, and having some perspective and maybe understanding the world a little bit better, but the truth be told is I don't really know that the work I did anything of any meaning, except, just propelling the system.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing is that, I realize in my job, my day is cyclical. My day is over to Caterpillar, up to Bellefonte, back to York, up to Bellefonte, back to York. And it doesn't end. Like, there's no goal point. And I feel like there is if that's the way you go, that you're like, I'm totally cool with people having jobs. I'm totally cool with people not having it. Like, I do really want people to just find where they are happy. And it is hard to find something that's satisfying to the soul, because there's not really much out there that isn't just a cyclical, you're walking into a machine.
Yeah.
Like, you're becoming, you're not an employee. You're just a part of the process. And that's what you need to do. And you do it. And there's no end goal. There's no satisfaction in that. But my wife's a social worker, so she gets to deal with, she gets the often because she's wonderful at what she does, she's a very talented she's a very charismatic, talented person who's good at dealing through situations. She's perfect for her job, and she does get to have those personal successes that do go further than just work. Like when she gets family reunited, that stays, and she can still keep up with all. You can still see the progress of that. But again, like that all boils down to that little ball of wax of like everything is temporary, nihilistically speaking, of course, but especially culturally speaking, that everything's here in the blink of an eye and everything's gone. And it's just, what do we, the biggest personal adventure should be finding what makes you happy and then doing it.
Yeah.
I think Aldous Huxley is right behind me, and he's the one who had that piece. It was do exactly what you want to do, and eventually, if what you want to do is in life is whatever it is, you want to be a swimmer, you want to be anything, just do it. Just start, and little by little you'll get there. Yeah. And like, it was, that's a good way to look at it. It's like, and it does take time. And if you're unwilling to give it the patience that it needs, if you're like in any situation, if you're more willing to throw money at something than you are effort and patience, it's not the thing that you're looking for. It's not the kind of satisfaction that you're looking for. Yeah. But once you do find that exact thing, dude, life gets so much better. Like, cause I'm a shill working for the man, but I love what I do. I can't help it. Like, it's just, I've always been enthralled by just, dude, pack a bag and go. Yeah. But where? Because like, I am a nervous, anxious human being, and like, I grew up starving at some points, and so I've always had a need for security and an innate drive for security. Yeah. So it's been there. So it just, I'm fascinated by that. And you being like, you're a busker, you're an adult, you're married.
I know, right? It's weird.
It just like,
yeah.
I have this terrible perspective on life where like I'm still a kid. I wake up every day and I still feel like a child. Yeah. I'm a teenager. All my friends are punks, and I get to see their cool pictures on Instagram, and I get to see their life they're leading. And I guess I just don't take it into perspective that like they're still personally successful. They're still satisfied, and like we don't have to grow up. And I don't take that into account because like what's it like being married with like how'd that work? How long have you been married?
Ketty and I have been together. We've lived together for 14 years now. We got married, I think 6 or 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But more or less, I mean, we've, been a unit for a long time.
That's cool.
Like when I quit my job, I had a pretty big 401k sitting in the bank, so I had a security net. So like I was planning on taking a year off, or maybe not, but just taking some time to just figure out what the hell I wanted to do with myself, because there was a lot of things I was just really unhappy with as far as working as a chef, like it's one of those careers that like it never gets easier, like it's never like you reach a plateau and then you're like, okay, now I can relax a little bit. It's like it's just a nonstop grueling work, like hard manual labor, like all the time. And, and everybody that was just a little bit older than me, like they're all going out for like surgeries because of work-related injuries, like their bodies are falling apart. They're dying and they're continuing to just like work in this system. And I don't know, I didn't want to do that, and I kind of got to the point like where, I hurt myself at work and like I couldn't walk for a week. And,
oh, geez.
Like I was doing it. I was watching it happen to me. I was watching my body break down because I was working so much. Because I was working like, sometimes 80 hours a week, like just up at 4 a.m, at work by 6, staying there till 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. It's
coming home, doing it again and again and again and again. And it's, and it's just for somebody's lunch, It's just like,
yeah.
I'm just making a lot of people lunch, it's not like that important, not that I would just murder myself for. So So that's why I started busking. I just did it because I wanted to do it. Like I quit my job and I had some free time and I'm just gonna relax,
Mm-hmm.
play some music, just because I want to, because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it started paying the bills, like right away, like
Yeah.
right from the get go, like no financial issues, like I can save up money. We went on a vacation last month to Maine for a week. Rented a cabin.
I saw that. Yeah.
Like we're not struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I'm not like rolling in dough or anything, but I can get anything I want to.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm worried about it, like, and it's become really consistent. It's like I make about the same amount every week, and it more or less pays for the both of us. Like I'm still the main breadwinner in the family, and we have a lot of time together now. Like life is so much easier, like way easier. Like I work, I play 5 days a week. I'll play for a 3-hour set. There's about an hour on both sides of that between setup and getting to the place. So like I'm away from home for like 6 hours.
Yeah.
And that's my work life. And otherwise I spend a lot of time gardening. I walk the dogs every day. I wake up when I want to. I go to sleep when I want to. Like it's really like it's a dream.
Yeah.
It's just, and like I have a lot more time to like really focus on what's going on around me and the energy that's going around me, and then watching people and dynamics, and the work itself is amazing. It's like there is that like stigma, like where I feel like I'm nothing but like a glorified beggar, like to a certain extent.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I was gonna get into that anyway, but I'd wondered because it's definitely an art, no matter what it is art, and it's just more of it's there, like you're gonna walk through. It's active, it's engaging at all. Like when you're busking, you're engaging with a crowd and you're there, and if you don't come back, you don't come back. So it's like.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about it. It's like I'm not asking for anything really. Like the whole point is I'm going out and just playing the music I want to play. And honestly, it's like meditation. Like I go out and I try to just connect with the music as much as possible, and connect with the energy around me, and connect with the people around me. And like magical things happen, I mean, just, it's crazy. Like, the other day, like these really two nice older ladies like came by, and one had like a drum and the other one had like this little like wooden man on a stick that like danced when she tapped it on a piece of wood, and they sat up next to me and started playing. They handed out all my musical toys to kids, and we had like a big party. And that's like a day at work, where like I'm watching kids jump around and have a good time. I'm singing songs, people are smiling, and they're thanking me for it. Like people are super grateful. And I'm super grateful, and everybody's super grateful, and the whole situation is just like bliss.
Yeah.
And then that's all I have to do. And it's like, I feel like an asshole saying that, because like it's amazing, but like, but it's like, if that can be your life, then do it, man. Like, holy cow. Like,
no, I don't disagree at all. That's because it really is like when we saw you playing outside of the market, I had my Instax with me, and it's just walking around taking instant photos, and I shot one of you for myself. I shot another one of you that I threw in your tip jar, and then a woman and her it was a nurse and her child had walked out of the Bears fried chicken door, and he was dancing with you.
Yeah.
And I caught it, and his mom was standing right behind him, and I thought it was just a really beautiful moment.
Yeah.
And I caught it, and I chased her down. I ran down Beaver, and I handed it to her because like. It was super cute. The picture came out great, and he was just dancing away to you, and it was just that, like, you had that positive circle, you had that whole thing, and it just you were a little bubble of happiness, and it spread, and it was just like instant.
Yeah,
and that was really awesome.
It's neat.
and when you're in the moment, how do you manage to pay attention? Like, how do you manage to stay attentive in that kind of chaos? Because like everything going around, like I have attention deficit disorder, so if I see a bright flash, like I'm gone. So how do you manage to mitigate your levels against what's going around you?
it takes practice, just like anything else. Like when I first started, like, people's attitudes and things, they could really throw me off.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've gotten more into it. Like I think it's really important for me to listen to like what I'm playing. Like, like part of it is too, like I'm using my whole body, and
Mm-hmm.
I think your friend talked about this, like how dancing, I think it was, would be part of her meditation.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, it's similar, like I'm making sound with like both my feet, and I'm playing violin, and I'm often singing, so there's a lot for me to like distract my mind from,
Mm-hmm.
and like, and really your mind is just, it's just a tool to help you solve problems, but it's not really meant to be an authority in your life. It's not really supposed to take you in any direction. And
Mm-hmm.
all it does is worry and fear. That's what your mind does. It just associates fear and tries to figure out ways to get around your fear.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so you can just recognize that. It's like, oh, that's just my mind. Being scared.
Yeah.
And instead, just like, I'm just going to try to stay in my heart and try to stay with the rest of my body. And
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, my mind's doing that thing where it's just scared of everything, but that's just what it's going to do no matter what situation I'm in. So like I can just let it go and just try to listen. And that's what I, just really try to listen, not just to my music, but also listen to like, you know, is it a cool day? Is it a hot day? Like how do people walk? Like how are they moving? Like what is the energy of the day? And then try to find a niche in there, and actually move with that energy as well, and be part of the energy that's happening around you that day as well.
Mm-hmm.
And just it's kind of like, I don't know if you play music at all, but it's kind of like if you're in a band and there's a drummer and there's a guitar player, and say you play the bass, like you find your pocket,
Right.
like you find your pocket, and I'm playing between the drummer and the guitars. It's the same thing, but like you find your pocket in life. You every day is different, and the energy that your brain is bringing to the table is usually not really in tune with what's actually going on around you. Like, so
Yeah.
you can like mentally prepare yourself for all sorts of shit, but that's usually not being in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
so
Well, yeah, I was gonna say if you like I'd written down like I have an issue with wandering conversations. So like
sorry.
I no 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 it's okay. No
Oh.
no 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 I meant personally like my brain will fire in like 40 different directions and I have to like when I'm in the fly and I'm talking to people like I had a super professional interview with my friend's wife and she's a professional interviewer as well.
Mm.
So like I felt like I should have wore gloves because my knuckles were dragging everywhere with her,
uh,
and I was all over the place. So like, as of late, yeah, I don't super prep into stuff. I have little indicators. I can glance down and see where I wanted to go because as soon as you and I had talked about doing an interview together, I really considered it and thought about the stuff that I wanted to bring up with you because
mm.
until we sat down and had breakfast, we really didn't know each other all that well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it seems like I think if I was like if I had to just suddenly if something Freaky Friday'd us and I
Mm.
was suddenly in your position, I think I just have a total meltdown.
Yeah, that's because maybe you're not supposed to be a busker. Like not everyone's supposed to be a busker, but
Mm,
yeah, I do hope that everybody can find what they love to do, and own it and trust in it,
yeah,
because I mean some people are designed, to do the whole work thing, but the idea that everybody is supposed to fit into that construct
yeah,
is ridiculous, because like if you look at tribal people, which is what we were,
yeah,
for most of our existence, like the societies we know, it's only really, been around for maybe 300 years, maybe,
roughly, yeah,
like it's all really new, and it really does, create this construct where, everybody has to do the same thing, and everybody is supposed to try to be good at a lot of stuff.
mm,
Like we're all pressured to like try to, like you need to be good at speaking, you need to be good at working, you need to be good at time management, you need to be, like all these things,
yeah,
and like that's ridiculous. Like I mean, everybody's different. It's
absolutely,
like,
absolutely, and it
yeah.
just like it gets into that weird social construct of like, okay, no, we are absolutely, all of us are 100% different, but it like our, we're all wonderful people no matter what, especially at a basic level. But yeah, we can't all be the hyperactive go-getter guy that's doing like, we all can't be Henry Rollins.
Yeah.
It's not gonna, if that was the parameters set, nothing's gonna get done. Whatever it is you've built, and you need something the pieces that you need to fit in that situation, rather than like, as a just as a management practice, which is this is what's absurd to me, is that people, instead of looking at what they've got, okay, so you have whatever you have, your office, and you have your needs, and you have, you have to get X out of the door, and to do that you have to do these things, and you have somebody that just like, you have somebody that you're trying to break so that they'll do that. When that like when the idea that you're going to break somebody to make sure that they fit into your mold is more important than just letting that person go and pointing them in a better direction.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you that's the conqueror thing, is like, you come in and it's somehow it's a conflictual thing. Well, Dave wears his hair too long. We need to get him to we need to get him a haircut, and we'll gang up on him in the bathroom and shave his head. It's like, no, you could just not do that. You could say, hey, Dave, this may not be the place for you, and but I have a friend who might be a better fit for you at that thing. It's like, we focus so heavily on getting to the top, and then once we get to the top, we got to make sure that everybody jams into the molds that we've made, and everybody has to fit every parameter. And it's like, look, man, let people go.
Yeah.
It just I don't know if you've ever watched Black Books at all, but it was a small it was a small independent bookshop. Eventually, a large bookshop moved in. The two guys that owned Black Books, they had a fight. Manny ran next door. Well, to work at the bookstore over there, and the whole thing was like, they tried to assimilate him. Yeah, like that was the whole thing. It's a very hilarious show. I think this is like fourth time I brought it up, but yeah, it's this idea that assimilation is necessary, or assimilation is key. It's like, you can get people, you could make the effort to look deeper and find people that are on the wavelength that you need them to be on, just from a standpoint as a human being. Like, look, if you have friends that are constantly conflicting with what you do, if it's bringing you down and reducing your quality of life, maybe it's better to be alone, just for a little bit. To take a step back and say, hey, wait, you're ruining me as a person. You're coming over, you're drinking all my Snapples, you're leaving the fridge door open in the middle of the night. Like, look, bro, I love you on a chemical level, but we need to step away for a little bit. Like, and instead of just trying to get everybody on the same thought patterns, and like, I think the assumption, especially with the internet, is like, as of late, like, as soon as you say something, that's exactly what you believe. And that's your whole structure, and that's your whole foundation. It's like, well, no, like, some people do have an educated opinion on both sides. Like, I've read the Turner Diaries. I'm not going to go blow up a building in Oklahoma City. Like, it's okay. It's okay to gang, like, but nowadays the issue is that, like, everybody, as soon as you open your mouth about anything, like, everybody's willing to just crowbar you into a viewpoint or a stereotype and all that stuff. And we just, like, it forces negative clouds out into the sky. It's just like, stop doing that.
And I think about that a lot. I was just talking to my friend about this last night, actually. It's the concept that, it's the concept of infinity, really, in my mind, is, like, nothing is the same. Like, nothing is the same. Like if you pick 100 apples off a tree, not one single apple is going to look the same. Like, you pick 100 carrots out of the ground, not one single carrot's going to be the same. Like, if you look at 100 molecules of the same, I don't know, atomic structure, they're all going to be slightly different. Like, everything is different. And that goes for perception and opinions. And this concept that like there is one right opinion or one wrong opinion is irrelevant, you know, because the truth of the matter is nothing, no one has the same opinion. No one has the same perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody is equally right in their perspective. Even like as I think, you know, this guy that went out and killed these people. That's horrible, right?
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is his perspective is just one more perspective.
Yeah.
You know, and the idea that like somehow we're in control and that like our perspective is more right than somebody else's perspective is actually removing yourself from the moment. You know, it's preventing yourself from just experiencing what happened, experiencing life.
Yeah.
You know, like this is something that's happened. How is it affecting you? What has it done for you?
Right.
You know, and that's the lesson. That's the lesson for all of us. You know, is really just how does it reflect on your life, and how do you feel about it? You know, and then that's what your perspective is. And this is going to sound really screwed up, but like something that I keep thinking about is like what has it done? Like there's a lot of horrible things in this world, but you can also look at what has it done. Like for instance, let's look at like Hitler and the rise of Nazism. All right. Before Hitler and the rise of Nazism, being an anti-Semite was completely socially acceptable. It was cool. It was normal.
Right.
After the rise of Hitler and that, now it's actually something that we say, okay, this is what's happened. This is bad. So if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have moved forward.
Right.
As a society, which is like, I know it's hard to say, but like I really do think that everything is a paradox. You know, like there's balance. It's yin and yang. You know, like, and you're not going to have one without the other.
Right.
You know? And certain people are going to feel compelled towards one side or the other side. You know, but the truth of the matter is like it's those two sides conflicting with each other that creates evolution. That's what creates change in our society, is the push and pull of one side saying, this is what I think is right, and this is how I feel in my bones, and the other side saying, no, this is what I think is right. And you're always going to have extremists. You're always going to have somebody that's on the far wings, and then you're going to have mostly everybody else that's on some sort of spectrum in the middle. You know, but nobody's going to think the same way about anything.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what evolves us as a human race. You know, that's how we grow. And maybe accepting the fact that there are extremes, you know, it makes it easier, you know, to you know, not freak out about everything, because that's how the world's always been. It's not going to change. You know?
I don't excuse me, I don't disagree with that at all. It's the idea that like if I knew on my commute to work every day that there's a pothole, and when I hit that pothole, it shakes my makes my teeth hurt because it's so deep. Yeah. And if that pothole is that, you know, if the pothole is a thought, it's like, okay, I know it's coming. Let me go around it. I know it's there. I know it's there. So I'm not going to keep tripping myself up by running through the pothole. I just adjust. And that pothole is why my course is adjusted. That pothole is why my ride to work's better. Yeah, it is it is that like the interpersonal momentum lately is that like I found out the other day I was a centrist, like because I don't take up mantles for anything apart from if you have a problem with two guys or two girls doing whatever they want to do to feel love, and you're willing to get violent against them, I will murder you. Just flat out, like leave that be. Like let people be loved. That's what we need to be. Yeah. And like that's the one thing that I'm vehement about is that look, sexuality is one of those things that we're like, it's either super important to you or it's not super important to you, but it's yours, and it is absolutely as personal as it gets. And that's the one thing you can't take away from somebody. You can take away their time. You can absolutely shorten up somebody's time, but their sexual experiences on this on this plane of existence are something that are theirs. Don't fuck with that. Pretty simple. But so like I don't vehemently take up the mantle of anything because I need to take my own personal views or things that excite me. Like I like guns. I don't own any.
Yeah.
They're super fun. Like, have you ever
Yeah.
been to a range? It's
No,
just
I'm on the other side of that, but I respect the fact that
yeah,
there's people out there that love guns, and I don't understand it. Like, to me, like, the only purpose of a gun is to kill,
right.
and I don't think killing is right. So what's the point of a gun? Like, that's always been my perspective.
No,
you know?
and I do fully agree with that. And it's not like I'm definitely not a proponent of people owning machine guns. You do not need a machine gun in your backyard. You do not need the excess.
Yeah.
But if you do need that excess, like I'm a big fan of World War II. I can go to Reading and I can fire blanks out of one of the old machine guns they use. It's vintage. It works. It's there. It's It's in a protected environment. It's me just sitting there at the range, whatever, and there's a target at the end. I get to squeeze the button and feel great for a second.
Yeah.
Like, I totally get that. That makes sense to me, and that's great. And growing up around people that hunted, like, it's just, I understand the idea that if the only reason you own weapons, like if you own pistols and you have them in your house, it's just because you want somebody to break in and shoot them. Like, that is really the only purpose.
Yeah.
If you don't take it out, go do something with it. You're right. The real purpose for it is to shoot the man that's walking into your cave. Like,
Yeah.
and I do agree. But like when I'm with my brother-in-law, championship skeet shooter, not skeet, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But when I go to the range with him and I take my wife with me, because the thing isn't the gun, it's not the worship of the gun. It's actually just knowing that we can all get along for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can go to the range, we can shoot guns and be silly and put up paper targets and just we can have that little moment together.
Yeah.
It's not the guns that matter most. It's the I'm not gonna champion gun like alleviation of gun laws. No, I'd much rather it was harder for people to get guns, and I would absolutely prefer responsible. There is responsible ownership, and there is like. I'm okay with hunting. It's just like I grew up that way. I'm okay with it. I'm not a huge proponent of it, and personally, I prefer archery hunting.
Yeah.
Like I think there is just an honest meditation to going out and being in the woods. 99 times out of 100, you're not getting anything, especially with a bow.
Yeah.
So you're just all you're doing is taking 3 days off work to hide out in the woods. That's fine.
Yeah.
Like it's just there's no. But the problem is like. I found out I was a centrist and somehow that's wrong.
See, I don't know. I don't think that anything's wrong. Like, I really think this whole concept of right and wrong it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, if everybody has their own perspective and opinion, then how can anybody really be right or wrong? Like, because nobody's the same. Nobody really is the same, Like, you're who you are, and you were put here for a purpose. You're here to move humanity in a direction. Like, you have a certain energy that you bring to the table that bounces off of other people, and that teaches other people about life, and it's not wrong, like I'm a pacifist, like I'm 100% a pacifist, and I know that the world will never be a world of pacifists. Like, I'm completely willing to accept that. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous, but that's actually how I feel. And like I think it's kind of silly for us to like just dismiss how we feel simply because it's unattainable.
Right.
Like that's the energy that you bring to this world. Like I'm an energy for pacifism. Like people have the chance to reflect on pacifism when they talk to me, and that that's something I add to the pool.
Yeah.
It's just another person with the pool. Just like, you add bow hunting to the pool, and that you share that with somebody that might change their lives on some different perspective. And it probably won't change their lives in how you want it to. It'll probably change their lives on their own terms.
Right.
And it's something that you bring to the table, and that's great. Like that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Just to bounce off each other.
I was gonna say we're one very large Jackson Pollock painting, and we're all adding a new color to the canvas.
Absolutely.
and it's okay. It's just like my biggest driver is knowing that like I was a really politically educated kid.
Mm.
I was 12 years old. I knew exactly what was going on. I wanted to vote. I was mad about it. And like I understood that because I needed to understand that so I could talk to my dad, like so that I could converse with my dad about it. And that was one of the things was if you want to sit on a Saturday night and play chess and talk about things, make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on and make sure that it's not just small conversation. He said, that's how we were. So that's how I've always been. I have to dig in. I have to constantly dig into information because it's my comfort zone. And I need all those other perspectives, but I know that gaining those other perspectives isn't shading my opinion in any way. It's just enlightening me on what's going on. Like it's the same. Like you're not going to understand what the importance of your pineal gland is until you take take a handful of mushrooms and disappear for a little while. Like you're not going to understand the importance of that. But if you look out, like especially with psychedelic use, like I'm pro psychedelic use. I'm not a user myself, but I'm super pro because I want to be. How
does that work? Like, how can you be pro but not use? Like, what do you know what you're talking about? Or?
No, I do.
Okay.
Not anymore.
Okay,
we'll say
All
it that way.
Okay.
Okay, so I have I've lived a long life up until now, and then I finally became
Gotcha.
I became average adult American.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So my whole thinking on it is like, oh jeez, whoops, is go for it. Like anything that can take you out of the moment and make you think a little harder, please do it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and nobody can be anti-psychedelic use because there's already some coursing through your brain right now. Right this very second, you are creating. It's not
dopamines and
dimethyltryptamine.
Okay.
DMT. It's in your head. It's what us. I guess nobody can ever know this because we can't scientifically test it, but it's probably what pops in your brain the moment that death comes. Like just kaleidoscope of colors and beauty just because it's over. But it's in you, it's in plants, it's in the grass, it's everywhere. So when my biggest problem is when people are anti something that have never experienced it or never tried it. Like I was a vegetarian for a while. I understand veganism. I totally get it. It makes sense. And I didn't do it myself. I didn't go that far because I really like leather belts. They look nice. But no, I'm just trying to
fur jackets.
Yeah. That's totally it. Fur jackets are the way to go. But it becomes a thing like where if you're not willing to, if you can experience something, like I can't experience heroin abuse. I cannot experience that lifestyle, like because I haven't walked that path.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I need to take up the negative standpoint of it's the worst thing in the entire world. We need, these people are addicts. These people are terrible. These people are a drain on our society. It's like, no, these people are people.
Yeah.
And these people made choices that you didn't make. And we need to still look at the fact that they're people. And if we can offer a hand, offer a hand. And it's like, without everybody's like, we've got this society of like cutting off, or society of like, oh, well, we need to put the foot down and tough love and all this. It's like, no, we just need to be love. And you need to, when your neighbor has a problem and you can help do it. Like it just, we get to this crazy point where, and you grew up in California, so I'm sure psychedelics were rad for you.
Yeah, I went through my phase for sure. Like it's been a long time. But, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it while I did it. You know, like and
it just kind of gets to be one of those things. Like I've had those experiences. I have them with me. I'm glad that I do. That knowledge is there, and it's fun.
I don't think I could go back.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
I
think I've reached a point of knowing about myself, because that when you do that, it really does change you. And I'm not sure I'm open to that level of change in my life again, like on a cellular level or whatever you want to call it. You know, like when you take a giant dose of hallucinogens, like
it
You
can,
may or may not come back the same person.
yeah,
You know?
it can be, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe not. Like it gets to be that thing where like Terrence McKenna had the thing about microdosing and like, exploring ways to use things to make you better
Mm.
is just to me personally is the right way to live. And
Yeah.
just being anti anything, well, I guess that's kind of an unfair statement because I am anti-racist.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like that's the thing though. I mean, like racism is just the yin to to your yang.
Yeah.
And really what's happening is there's an energy between the racists and the people that are against racism that's making us talk about it.
Yeah.
That's creating change.
Yeah.
Like, and that change wouldn't be possible if we were all racist.
Well,
Like,
yeah, you're right. It wouldn't be. There would be no like in either direction if we were all racist or we were all not.
yeah.
There wouldn't be any call for action anyway. There
Mhm.
wouldn't be like there wouldn't be any motivator to do anything about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need both.
Yeah, it's weird. Life is a paradox. Like I do like I believe that like science and predetermination both exist simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's a paradox, that like religion and hard facts both exist at the same time.
I can get with that.
Yeah, and that's what creates the dynamic of life is that like both are true on their same levels. Like for instance, like when you die, the DMT in your brain pops. So that's a chemical scientific standpoint.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I would say when you die, like your energy is reabsorbed into the collective, and you get a chance to relook on your life, and your soul says, oh, okay, I came here to do this, and that was my purpose, and now let's learn from it and go on to the next thing, and both of those experiences are being explained,
Mm.
like either way, like they're being explained on a scientific level or they're being explained on a spiritual level, and just because one happens and the other happens doesn't mean they're not both happening. It's a paradox, and I really do think that everything is a paradox on
Yeah.
some level.
Well, I think anything that's given enough thought does become its own. Like anything that you're willing to put the mental energy into is
Yeah.
going to become a paradox because it
Yeah.
does get like you do realize that okay, well, mechanical thinking, like the scientific process is a very mechanical process. It's very good,
Mm.
especially when it comes to them like. Well, we need new pills. Well, we can't we need new medication for this. Well, we can't just wing it. It's
Yeah.
like it's good that stuff happens, but at the same time, like, yeah, you're right. Sometimes stuff just like serendipity does exist, and it does propel us in the right directions,
Yeah.
and it is possible to have both.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a more like I'm yeah like I'm not I'm willing I'm willing to explore the spiritual side of the world. I'm willing to explore people's opinion of what God is because this right here, this is my religion.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I do. This is what I do for the sake of loving life. Is talking to people
Yeah.
just gets me hyperactive. I don't know why,
That's
but
cool.
it just this is what I've got. So I can't say I like. And I know that's my religion, so I can't say I'm an atheist because I do know I have a religion and it's talk. And it's just to be vehement, like to vehemently state that I know anything for solidly,
Mm.
apart from the biographies that are up on my shelves, maybe not. Like this all could entirely be misinformation because personal history is personal history of the Kennedys, stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Probably, until
Right.
somebody comes out of, but it's just, it gets to be that thing. Like we need to be able to be flexible in our thinking and flexible in our opinions, but still solid in ourselves
Mm.
with that. It's like, we can't just like we can't take a nihilistic perspective of like, well, everything's bound to change, so let's not worry about anything. It's like, well, no, we can still make progress and
Yeah.
not have stolid beliefs
Right.
one way or the other.
Yeah. I do think it's important though, like not everybody has to be good at being an activist, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure on us, like to be like, well, you need to join the fight, you need to like stand up and activate. But like the truth of the matter is like, everybody brings their own piece to the table, and that may or may not have already been defined,
Yeah.
by some sort of structure in our society. Like I really encourage people just to try to figure out what it is that resonates with them, and not what they've read, but like, like how do they really feel, about like how do you really feel, and be okay with that, because your point is valid. Like whoever you are, your point is valid.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I was going to say all the technical data in the world and all the reading in the world isn't going to like, yeah, right. Like the things that make me open up and beam. And when you say, well, I believe this and I will, stand against you because I don't believe that. It's like, oh, okay. Well, that's what matters most to me. Like, no, I totally get that. And it's just, yeah, we just need to be better people. And if we are all if we are all activists, what's actually getting done? That's the other thing is like when I was young, that was the 80s. Like we didn't have we didn't have giant marches and stuff like that. Like I was born in the center of the bubble where it was like, well, everything was okay. Reaganomics was terrible. Like the drug war was awful, but it was just started, so nobody knew how bad it was. And Clinton was all right the first time. Second time, not so good. And it just, everything was there, but we also didn't have the 24-hour news feed. We had time to sit and contemplate and reflect. And
there was time for other things in life. Like, watching the sunrise is just as important as politics.
Yeah, I agree.
like just feeling your feet on the ground is, I mean, it's just as much of an experience in your life as anything else, and you're here to experience your life.
Yeah.
Your life,
100%. And like that's the thing is like, yeah, just do that. And sometimes, look, if you got gas money and nothing else, just take a ride to the beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like we had a funeral in Delaware on a January day, and it was icy cold. It was terrible, but I got to drive 40 minutes away and stand on the beach in the middle of the winter, and it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So there's nothing. I know people when they say like, oh well, you need to cut yourself off from stimulation and really reflect. It's like, yeah, but when you stand in the cold on the beach in the middle of the winter, I feel like there's nothing more desolate, and it's just like it's a beautiful feeling.
It really is,
and it's it's very strange, but so be better people. I agree.
Cool.
So this is a really wonderful conversation.
Yeah.
So I sincerely appreciate you coming out early in the morning and being there for the sake of my new schedule. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm glad that we met.
Yeah, me too.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Is there? I was gonna say, is there anything else that you wanted to cover? Where do you normally busk? Are you a York guy, a Lancaster guy? You just kind of roam.
I'm mostly in Lancaster. I play. I'm often at Ruts Market.
Oh, okay.
And then I play at Kitchen Kettle Village on Thursdays.
Ooh.
And I play at Green Dragon on Fridays. Saturdays are kind of like half the time at Lancaster Central Market. The other half of the time I usually have a gig.
Yeah.
And then Sundays I play down at Baltimore at the Farmers Market under the freeway there.
Oh, cool.
And and then I get like, gigs here and there, and
Well, I was gonna say you just did bike night. How was that?
that was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like it was like I didn't have a stage or lighting or a PA or anything like that. Like, and I asked her like, should I bring my PA? And like, no, don't bring your PA. We just want you there for ambiance. But like, it was hard because like, there's like 1,000 motorcycles driving by and all I have is my fiddle,
Yeah.
But they paid me well, and I made some kids dance, and like people hung out with me and enjoyed it, and like I definitely think like you know some people had a really good experience,
Yeah.
and that's like that. Like it doesn't matter to me. That's all that really matters. Like if I
Yeah.
go out there and one person gets a smile and has a good time, then I'm like, okay, it was worth it, like so it was a fun gig, and um, yeah, so
That's
it's
awesome.
interesting.
I had wondered because like I avoid bike night and like I'm not a super great I'm not a motorcyclist.
Mm,
I'm not a biker. I'm a motorcyclist. So
hmm.
like I just own one. It kind of
Yeah,
happens, and I can't get into the whole lifestyle thing, or I don't like riding. I can't. I drive professionally. I'm very stringent with the way that I drive.
yeah.
I can't handle the way other people drive. I do not. I don't ride with anyone else. I'm just
Mm.
out there. Like
I
just
kind of like doing like the I don't know how to put it. Like I kind of like performing in scenarios where I'm being exposed to like a lot of conservative people.
yeah,
Because like it's just I kind of feel like I'm being subversive on some level.
yeah.
Like I put a little sign out that usually like talks about loving each other, and like most of my lyrics involve like just like let's just be good to each other kind of thing. So like
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of feel like I get to be my own little piece of propaganda. you know?
That's good.
Yeah.
Like
And like
that's
yeah, it's
awesome that you
like
have that.
and like I have enough skill to like it doesn't like I'm able to get away with a lot.
Yeah.
Because people were just like, "Wow, you're doing 100 things at once," but at the same time, like I have a message, and that message gets to be out there. You know, yeah, like I almost feel like I have a little bit of a responsibility. Because I have this ability, like I get to you know create a zone of love.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
and
You get
it's it's like what else is better than that? Like so it's fun. Like that's why I like going to like um some of these Amish markets. They're pretty conservative. Like sometimes
yeah.
I'm set up next to the guy that has like the Confederate flag display and all that. But at the same time, I'm there and I got my Black Lives Matter sticker on my drum or whatever. And I'm just like
Yeah.
hey like whatever like I don't hate you and like we can love each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, and that's the other thing is like just we take each other at first glance, and you take people's whatever profile picture, bumper sticker, whatever, and you just react to it. It's like, well, stop doing that. Dig a little deeper.
mm,
Get a
yeah.
little get deeper and see what else is there. Because like I have weirdo friends that you wouldn't expect me to have, and it's like, well, yeah, but I like them as a person, and
Yeah.
we both hold our opinions. We both hold our opinions, but it doesn't matter when we come together. We come together.
Yeah, and we all have different backgrounds.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
what we were raised in and what we were exposed to, like
Mm.
really, really, really does define, like our outlook on life, and
Yeah.
they have no control over that.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. You can't pick the place you
yeah,
can't pick the door that you walk into. You can just
yeah,
walk into it. That's
yeah.
all.
So
So, but wonderful. I
cool.
sincerely appreciate it.
Yeah,
So,
happy to be here.
but all right. Well, cool. Come back soon, and yeah, go find Ian. Just roaming around. Just
Yeah,
find him. You do wonderfully. So, like,
thanks.
you do
Yeah.
perform well, and it's really awesome to see. So,
Cool.
awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.